Vox here. So I am joined by the greatest NFL mind of our generation. You guys all know him from his work in the MUT community previously. He has
Do they?
spread his wings. What?
I said, do they? I don't know if anyone knows me from Mud anymore.
Yeah. I mean, you're a YouTube superstar, Bengal.
Wow,
I
that's
mean,
high praise. Coming from the superstar of the world, not even just YouTube.
let me plug in my headphones quick before we overinflate our egos. Just to like leak a little of it out. So in MUT right now, there is a challenge, right? You got to pick the positions to draft at certain overall picks. And we're going to kind of go through it one by one. The first 20 picks. And the crazy thing is, like, you get like every card in the game if you get all 20 right. So there's a lot riding on this, Bengal. I hope you understand that.
That'd be pretty good. Yeah, it's just not gonna happen, but hopefully we can get a few of them.
Yeah, well, not with that attitude. This is a channel of positivity, right? We only say nice things about about EA, about the NFL and how it's run. So Bengal, I realize that it's like a change since we're all like puppies and blowjobs here, but I just want you to kind of understand the vibe.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. That you can't cut this out of the video. What do you think about Colin Kaepernick?
What do I think
No,
about
I'm
it? Like,
I'm just kidding.
well played, sir. Well played. All right, we were about. I mean, that was about to generate a lot of comments, which is good for the overall push of the video.
That is
That's
true.
why you're a superstar, man. You understand how the
I
game
know the
works.
YouTube meta.
Yeah, you really do. All right, so what we're looking at here is number one overall pick. So we can kind of like try and forecast trades, but do you think it's like better to hedge our bets with this and not do any trades?
The trades are gonna happen if you want to go and really think about it. It's like you got to think like who's available that probably shouldn't be and who's moving up, and you can predict. I think it's still fairly I don't want to say easy, but I would say predicting the position or player to go at a certain spot is a little bit more predictable than the team that will necessarily take them. Sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. Unless like some teams fallen in love with a guy and jumps over a bunch of other ones to draft them. Yeah, like the Steelers are gonna jump up. Everybody's like, oh, they're going Malik Willis, and boom, Aiden Hutchinson, and double paint off the edge. Can't
It
wait.
could be.
So first overall pick right now is Jacksonville, and all we need is a position, right? So it doesn't matter who they pick. Walker, I know everybody's thinking he's number one now. Aiden Hutchinson's there. Thibodeau, they got ranked at 3. Who do you think Jacksonville's going with?
I think it's going to be an edge rusher. I think there's maybe an outside shot that it's Aquanu. Apparently, Doug Peterson really likes Aquanu, so it maybe could be a tackle. But I think you got a 90% chance it's going to be an edge guy.
Let me ask you about Aquanu. Like, why him over like the absolute freaking nature Evan Neal?
Um, that's a good question. Neil is super big, super athletic. He's pretty good in pass pro as well. Aquanu, Mahler. I've just heard that other teams have him higher, and even some teams have Cross up there at the top too. But it just kind of depends what you want. I would say if you want more of like a mauling power run blocker, it'd be Aquanu, who's also a super athlete. Neil's just a little bit bigger, a little bit better as a true left tackle. But I think it just kind of depends on the offense you're running.
Yeah, I really love the beef up front. I'd totally take Neal, but maybe I'm wrong in a few years with that pick. But anyways, all right, so we're gonna go. It's gonna be edge. So we'll just say Trayvon Walker, number one overall.
Sure.
Okay. So because they like arm length, right? Like more
Yep.
than
Trent
anything
Baalke.
else, production. Yeah, yeah. It's all in your arms. I mean, like it's a pretty big deal. Aldrin
is.
Smith was arm length, and getting that first punch in is pretty important. So Aiden Hutchinson, if he goes there, I mean the Lions got to take him, even though he has basically like T-Rex arms from what I'm hearing.
He's in like the 7th percentile for arm length from edge rushers, which I think people may be unfamiliar with the process, kind of won't understand why that's even a big issue. But for defensive line play, it's so important to get first contact a lot of the time. Now, you can win in other ways, especially with like counter moves and whatnot. But it's really important as a baseline to get first contact so you're not kind of blowing off your mark. So arm length is really important.
Yeah,
I think this is probably an edge. But
yeah,
I think
this is an edge again.
I think there is a real chance it is a quarterback. The Lions have been linked to Malik Willis. It's hard to know how much is a smokescreen, how much is real, but I think this could be a quarterback too.
Wow. Number two, do you think any? I mean, maybe a team falls in love with Willis enough to trade up because the Lions, I think any team at the top of the draft pick, top of the draft, I feel like they'd want to trade back this year, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could certainly make that argument.
Yeah. So do you think we should put at the second pick still an edge, or should we go quarterback?
I think you have a higher chance that the Lions play it safe and take an edge, but I think there still is a real chance that a quarterback goes. But it's probably Hutchinson here.
Okay, so we'll go edge there too at number 2. Okay, so we'll add him. I mean, especially with the home state.
Too fun of a
Hutchinson.
storyline, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's like Madden in a box. All right, number 3 for the Texans. Like I think from what I hear, and obviously you're more knowledgeable about this stuff. I hear a lot of tackles linked to the Texans.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a corner. I think it's going to be Sauce Gardner from Cincinnati who goes here.
Really?
Corner is so important
Okay.
in the Lovie Smith defense, and he's flying up. It's a high character guy who is really, really talented, and I think that combo is just kind of tough to pass on. And I think this is probably about where he could go, and I think it will happen. But yeah, edge tackle in play.
I'm really worried about high character guys as of late. Wait, let me turn my microphone. I realize it's so low. Ever since Bill Cosby completely like shattered our world, I don't know about high character guys anymore. What do you think? Has Bill ruined it for our entire generation?
Yeah, it's entirely on Bill Cosby. We all thought he was just pudding pops and a family man, but no, he was. I don't know what I can say. No.
There was something inside the pudding the whole time,
Oh
dude.
man, he was naughty. I think is he's you can't put that.
Okay, we'll move on.
You can't put that in. Oh, Jesus
Okay,
Christ.
so number 4 is the Jets. Are they going to stay?
I need a second. I need a second. I can't take this seriously.
I threw you off with the high character guys. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, Mr. Rogers died before we found the skeletons in his closet.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways. The Jets. We got the what are we looking at number 4? Are they gonna stay put and draft a cornerstone, or what are we looking?
I think it's an edge or the first receiver off the board here. I think to play it safe, I would go with Kayvon Thibodeau to like edge.
Really? Okay. All right.
Yeah,
I
it
like
seems
that.
like 4 or 5 is going to be his true floor now from what I've seen, which makes sense. He's really, really talented. And we have 2 edge rushers off the board already.
Yeah.
And it's such a valuable position. And it seems crazy that tackles would be available here, but the Jets don't really need one. The Texans, unless it's Aquanu, don't really need one. They need more of like a guard than a true tackle because they can move Titus Howard, who was their first round pick a few years ago, back to tackle where he's actually decent, and he's horrible at guard. Lions wouldn't take one. And if the Jags don't see the value there at 1, a real chance that a tackle slides here to 5, 6.
Yeah. I mean, I know this is your team right here with the Giants. How much of this is like you want to just hope the best tackle slides? Like, all right, let me go through this thinking. Right, I was thinking like if you're the Giants, you got 2 picks in the top 7. Like, if all the corners slide to you, why wouldn't you take like 2 corners and have like a legendary DB core? Like, your defense becomes all of a sudden like just completely locked down against the pass almost. If you have not Bradbury, who's the other star? Dory, right out
Dory
out
Jackson.
there. Yeah, and then you got 3 great corners. I feel like if you get like 2 of the top 3 here.
Well,
in the
I think
draft.
part of that is you're putting all your eggs in one basket, and
I mean, it's Easter. What's wrong with eggs in a basket?
that
You're
is
saying
a fair point.
uh
I don't know. It's like you got to find ways to impact the game a little bit more, and unfortunately, like I can't really make the argument for 2 corners. I can with 2 edge rushers or even 2 tackles, but
really, you don't. I mean, the biggest Jalen Ramsey apologist I know is saying don't go with corners.
I mean it's super important. But who's the best player on that Rams defense? Who's like the biggest reason that they're so good? It's Aaron Donald on the defensive line. You got to be able to rush the passer and force them to make mistakes, and then you don't really need elite corners back there, even though it is an important position.
Yeah, like I don't know. I feel like defense is a weak. I mean, this is kind of like off the topic of everything. Defense is like oftentimes known as like a weak link system, and if like you know you can get like solid players across the board. If like your entire secondary can't be targeted anywhere that's weak, like what are you just gonna throw the running back and tight end the whole game? Like you know if you got three lockdown corners to lock down three receivers, yeah, I don't know, dude.
That's
Versus
fair
getting
too,
like
but it's tough to find the true lockdown corner, especially if you're playing zone defense. Guys are just going to get open. It doesn't really matter who you have sometimes. So I
I
just
mean
like to take
Seattle.
more impactful positions, and I really think there's no more impactful position than an edge rusher.
Like yeah, I agree with you on edge there, but like it's almost like a batting lineup, right? Like the higher your averages, the more often your batting lineup's gonna get to like hit around and get up more at bats. So it's kind of like building off each other. And it's like two corners, three corners on the Giants being able to like basically make the defense so flexible. Like you can blitz a lot easier because you're more reliable. Like you know Seahawks with their corners were very reliable. They had a decent pass rush there in the early 2010s.
Well, let me
I
let me
don't
give
know.
you this angle.
All
If you
right.
don't get any pass rush, the best corners in the world aren't going to be able to cover for 4 or 5 plus seconds down the field. It's just not going to happen.
It's a very, very good point. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because like NFL receivers are generally like most talented youngsters go to receiver. We're off the topic, but I agree. You'd have to generate pressure somehow, either through a blitz, because you know the Giants' front isn't incredible. So, all right, sorry, we're off topic. I know we talk about the Giants a lot here. Who are they taking?
I think it's going to be a
Tackle?
tackle here. I think if Sauce Gardner gets to 5, that's certainly in play, but I think it's going to be a tackle here. Especially no Thibodeau on the board, no Walker at this spot. Hutchinson probably not making it to 5. So I think it is going to be a tackle. I would go, Neil Aquanu. I think it could be Charles Cross. He's been a name that's connected to the Giants of late. Could be Charles Cross. I doubt he's the first tackle off the board, though.
Yeah. So we going offensive line or
Yeah, I would go tackle.
uh tackle? Okay. All right. Offensive line in that spot. We'll just throw. You said that you like Aquanu the best.
No,
Throw
I
that to
didn't
the
say
Giants.
that. I said
Okay.
some do. Um, I'm still, I think, evolving with my offensive line evaluations. It's just it's a more intricate position than I think most people would expect. And I don't know. I think it's just different strokes for different folks.
100% depends on your scheme. Like Bakhtiari is like an incredible pass protector, but he's kind of like average against in the
That's
run.
more of
So
like your Charles Cross guy.
yeah.
Evan Neal is like the Laramie Tunsil guy, and then
Mhm.
Aquanu is like, I don't know. He's a power run offensive tackle that could be a really good guard right away too. That's why the team matters a lot. To me, the Texans don't really need tackle as much as they need guard on the O line. So that's why I like the Aquanu there more. It's just kind of
Yeah.
like the fit for the team. But I do, yeah, I would throw Evan Neal here.
Okay. All right. Sounds great. Your Giants get the Neal. You know, have you ever been sued for false advertising for calling yourself Bengal but being a Giants fan?
Yeah, that's a good question. It hasn't happened yet, but I'm ready. I'll get the legal team prepared.
You got him on retainer?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right, we got Panthers at number 6. Now this is like, you know, one of the first spots we could see a potential quarterback here. Kenny Pickett's been linked to them quite a lot, but
for
he's
sure.
got limited upside from what I'm seeing. He's kind of old. He's like only a year younger than Darnold. What do you think about the Panthers?
I think this could be a trade back spot also. A team maybe moving up for Aquanu. But the thing is, like the Panthers really could use help at offensive line, like left tackle in particular. So with Aquanu available, I would pull the trigger here and say this could be an O tackle, an offensive
Really?
tackle. Yeah.
So like Aquano's not that good against the pass, and it's a passing league, right? Like it's not he's like trash, but
It's not that he's not good. He's just a little bit more of a project. Sometimes he'll overset, which is a correctable mistake. But the athlete's great, and the tackle tape's good. Like it's just not perfect, but he's really good.
so select offensive line of this pick.
I would say so.
Okay. All right. We'll do that for the Panthers. Weird, because like you know how much like Willis putting on those basically showcases in is pro day and everything. Like the internet was going crazy when he went like that. So it's interesting. Like it was so long ago. It's almost like people forgot about how crazy people were. But like NFL teams that are in a day by day, they're still as crazy then or now as they were then, right?
Yeah, I mean, you have to imagine that a lot of the coaches on some of these teams are going to want Malik Willis because you have a lot to work with there. And that is, as we talked about earlier, another really high character guy, which does matter a lot, especially at quarterback. So I think someone is going to sell themselves on Malik Willis. That's why I talked about him maybe going at 2, which
Yeah.
I know Lions fans hate, but it's a possibility you have to acknowledge.
Why do Lions fans hate him?
Well, I think people are naturally afraid of what they don't know, and Malik Willis is kind of an unknown quantity of how good he's going to end up being or not, because he is pretty raw, and he does have some pretty bad plays when you watch him. So it's just kind of a thing of getting him to be more consistent. They don't think that quarterbacks may be a huge need because they can, quote unquote, wait until next year. I think there are a lot of reasons. I've seen people say, oh, Lions re-signed both of their backup quarterbacks. No way we're taking a quarterback here. But you're not drafting Malik Willis to be the backup. Like, you're not drafting him as a depth piece who's going to just be off the team in 4 years. You want him to be the guy in 2023 or beyond that.
Like, I love quarterbacks from shitty schools, right? I love quarterbacks that have been, like, under the fire for a few years that, like, because, like, if you're behind, like, Alabama's offensive line, like, some of the big things, obviously there's, you know, huge exceptions like Burrow. But, like, if you're behind, like, those easy to pass from, clean pockets, like, I feel like if you go to a team and, like, okay, it's not there, and then the game's faster, it's more complicated, like, you're not used to, like, that under fire type of play style that you really dealt with. Like, if you go to Seattle, like, and their offensive line's been trashed since Russell Wilson's been there. Now, obviously, he's gone, but, like, I feel like I like those dudes, right? Like, versus the easy time in college, you know, you're you know, just chilling back there, setting up a picnic and doing a cheerleader, and then you just, like, look downfield and your guy's streaking wide open, and then it's just, like, I don't know. It's just something about, like, playing at Liberty and being behind such, like, a, you know, traditionally terrible team and then leading them to, you know, some victories there that I'm like, I don't mind Willis coming.
Yeah, definitely something to be said there. I will tell you, he played behind maybe the worst offensive line I've ever seen, and that really is not hyperbole. I truly believe it. It was horrible, and they're coming out of the shotgun every single play, pretty much. So no one is surprised to see that it's a pass in the Hugh Freeze offense. It was something to behold.
Yeah. So, anyways, all right, Giants second pick. You're an expert. You've been thinking about these picks forever. Yeah.
You know, I don't love the way the board has fallen. I think this could be a Giants trade back spot in real life. And I think what it could come down to is the first receiver off the board here, Derek Stingley or Jermaine Johnson would be my bet. So this one's kind of up in the air. I would say, yeah, based on how everything's fallen, I think it could be Stingley. But this one's kind of tough.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Stingley this early because of his potential. So you think Giants' biggest needs, as we see on the page right now, edge, safety, interior offensive line. They don't have cornerback all the way to, like, one of the last needs on the page here.
Yeah, part of that is just I don't always agree with the Draft Network's team needs. I think it's trying to, like, help out people that log onto the website and think of the first, like, real options. So I think maybe they're thinking safety at, like, number 36 or wherever the Giants pick, something close to it. Like, they want it to be offensive tackle edge because that's what's projected. But based on the board, you know, there's not a ton of value there. I really do like Jermaine Johnson as a player. That's probably what I would end up settling on here. But, yeah, like, the Giants are not going to take a safety at this spot. Corner is super important. It doesn't seem like it's a big need, but then you remember the Giants are going to trade James Bradbury probably, and then you have a Dory Jackson and some guys who were rookies last year.
Don't the yeah, okay. All right, that's a fair point. So Stingley will draft a cornerback at the Giants second selection.
I would probably lean towards Jermaine Johnson here.
Really, another edge? Okay.
Edge rushers are going to go. Like, Jermaine Johnson could feasibly fall out of the top 10, but I don't think he gets past the Jets at 10 if he's there.
What are the give me a percentage that this pick gets traded?
Based on the way this board has fallen, I would say, 40% maybe.
Oof, that's brutal. So the 4% chance that maybe a quarterback goes here, because ain't nobody trading up for a Jermaine Johnson, in my opinion.
No, but he and you could probably scroll down and see this. He is the last significant talent on the edge.
You don't like
Karloftis is now expected to fall out of the first round. Another guy with short arms.
really.
Yeah, and then you have like Boye Mafe, who's a developmental guy. He's kind of an athlete first. Ajabo, great player, also a bit of a project. Tore his Achilles
I think
a month
Ojabo's a
ago.
little overrated, right? If you saw like in the playoffs, like dude, they just ran away from Hutchinson right at Ojabo the whole game, and they
Yeah,
fucking
he's not a great
dominated him.
run defender right now, that's for sure. But like he has pass rush juice, which is extremely valuable. Ebikadi could probably be a first round guy too. I wouldn't focus on the ranking
Late,
too much.
yeah.
He could go as early as like 20 probably.
Okay.
They're going to be guys
So
that
really,
sneak in, but I would say yeah, Jermaine Johnson probably the last true talent here. And if the Giants don't come away with an edge rusher, I mean, I might be disappointed if he's available. But if they get a
yeah.
tackle and Sauce, I'd be good with it.
Yeah, I mean, this whole board gets messed up if like Thibodeau falls one spot and
That's
then
true.
they go tackle right here. So then this is really tough, dudes. Like this is why
This
like
we don't know about this draft more than any other year.
yeah yeah this is hard. But all right, Falcons, who they taking? The edges are gone.
Yeah, I think it's a
The
receiver or Derek Stingley at this spot.
nope, no shot for a quarterback, huh?
I would be surprised. They're a really, really, really bad roster, top to bottom. And people get mad at me when I say that, but I mean they really are. They're just not there right now.
CC's punching air.
They're
Yeah.
just not there right now. So if they bring in a quarterback, I think it would be setting themselves up to fail. In some ways, they have no receivers. I think it might be a better idea to put a team around that future QB, and especially if you anticipate being really bad, you're going to have a high pick next year. And I mean, you could make the same argument for some other teams too. And I
Yeah.
might dislike it in some cases, like it in others. It just really is a case by case basis. But I don't think this is going to be a quarterback. Could
Okay.
be, but I don't think so.
So you taking Wilson here?
Yeah.
Okay. So wide receiver at pick number 8 for the game. Man, yeah, you're right. This is a tough year to do these picks.
The thing,
Um,
it could change a lot based on who's available. I think this is an edge rusher if Jermaine Johnson's available. I
yeah,
think so much can change, and the Seahawks are a really tough pick as well because this individual mock draft had tackles falling, whereas in real life, like Charles Cross could not be available here. But the fact that he is available means that this could be a tackle, like pretty easily. It could be Malik
hmm,
Willis, as you mentioned earlier. It could be Derek Stingley. There's a lot of options here.
yeah, yeah. The only reason I keep mentioning quarterbacks is because they always seem to fly. Like they always get overdrafted, right? Nobody thought like, what was that? Oh, what was the year where Daniel Jones got drafted? Nobody thought it was gonna like they knew he
2019.
was gonna get like they like nobody knew Daniel Jones was gonna fly up the board that far. There's so many like surprise quarterback picks like it's like this isn't a great quarterback year, then boom, a quarterback goes in the middle of the first round, something like that. So like I don't know. That's why it's just such a like a make or break position, and a lot of teams it seems like take that risk, right? Because a quarterback on a rookie deal that turns it on is a Super Bowl contending team.
That's true. Yeah, it's just we're not to the middle of the first round yet, as you alluded to.
Yeah,
But this is certainly the range for QB. And again, I said there could be one that goes at 2. It really just depends on who's making the selections and how they feel about the player. All it takes is
yeah.
one team to really like them. But I'm just trying to operate off of kind of what I've heard and what I think could happen. But yeah, quarterbacks in play. It certainly is.
I'm super nervous about the Steelers trading up into this region and giving up like a whole bunch of like future draft picks, like they did with. I mean, the trade up for Devin Bush a couple years back, they gave up like a few later picks, but then they give up like another first, which was awesome. But yeah, it's like give up your first and second. Like I don't know, going from 20 to say like 8. What do you think they have to give up?
You're talking about probably a future first round pick. I think
Mm,
that's certainly an option. But you have to remember, it's like, who are you jumping here? Who's going to take a quarterback? It's not going to be the Jets. It's not going to be, Washington. It's probably not going to be Minnesota. Probably not going to be Houston. Not going to be Baltimore. Unlikely to be Philly, so you're really competing with the Saints.
Yeah, and their potential trade up.
Hmm.
Um, huh. You know, I mean, like Seahawks. Like, how close of a prospect is Willis to Wilson?
Zach Wilson?
No, sorry, Russell.
Oh, yeah, I was looking at the Jets at 10. I mean, in terms of like extending the play, definitely comparable. Malik Willis is really good at that. In terms of seeing the field and being consistent, not even close.
Yeah, that was accuracy coming out of college was one of Russell's biggest things. Okay, so anyways, Seahawks. Who taking?
It's really tough. I mean, you could sell me on Stingley. The fact that Cross is here, I think he ends up being the guy if
Okay.
the board falls like this. But we also haven't done any trades, so I mean, a lot's going to change probably. But sometimes we do see teams stick inside the top 10. I think last year, I don't think there were really many trades at all. So we could see something like that this year as well. But I would go Cross
Okay.
just based on who's available.
All right. Cross at number 9. Yeah, this is a very heavy edge tackle defensive years. All right, Jets. Who they taking here for the second time?
Yeah, I think you could sell me on Stingley, but I think this ultimately is a wide receiver, and I think it's Jamison Williams, Drake London. Take your pick there. Washington has been heavily connected to Drake London, so it's a receiver or safety at the next pick. But I think this is where a receiver could go. But then you have the Jets maybe taking one at 4, so there's a lot to think about. But I would go receiver.
All right, we'll put Drake at that spot just as a holder. So number 10, go with wide receivers. That's kind of what they're looking for, dude, to help out their young quarterback. Washington, you said safety. I
I
think
think
I
it's
heard
I think it's between
Hamilton.
Kyle Hamilton and the best receiver on the board, is what this ends
You're
up being.
you're surprisingly like I know Kyle Hamilton's like as much as like Trayvon Walker's gone up on boards, Hamilton's gone down, and you think it's due to like people looking at more of his tape and think he's not as instinctual as people say.
Um, I think that's a safe, like, too long didn't read assessment of it. Like, Kyle Hamilton's not a bad player. It's just he probably isn't a free safety. He's probably a strong safety. Those are a little bit easier to find. And even if he's like a juiced up strong safety, right? It's like the value that the league places on safety is not a high one. So, like, it seems crazy that Kyle Hamilton's what feels like a lock to me to fall out of the top 10. But I think that's a really, like, real possibility.
What's weird is that like when you think of the best defenses of all time, like they've all had great safety play. Well, not all of them, but like almost all of them. When you think of like Baltimore, Pittsburgh, like all these teams have had such great safeties. The double safety combo there in Seattle.
Hmm.
So it's weird that like there's not a lot of value plays. It's kind of like I feel like middle linebackers. I always go back to the 2017 Steelers when before Shaz went down and after Shaz went down, they went from like a top 5-10 unit to like a bottom 10 unit in the league after he went down, and they gave it like 40 some points in the playoffs to Bortles. So like it's weird that like they say positions kind of whatever, but then you look at historically great teams like they got pretty good safety play, and it's almost a point like if everybody thinks the safety spot sucks, you can maybe get a little bit more value out of it by drafting it later. Even I don't know.
Like, I do
It's a
think
weird.
I do think you're making a good point. But even look at the Rams last year, right? It's like, name their safeties.
Good point. Like they had obviously one of the best interior linemen of all time, one of the top corners. So like you ain't wrong there.
Hmm.
But whereas they're like just like an overall decent unit outside of those two with a lot of solid playmakers. Um, hmm. Yeah, but like nobody would say. I mean, the Rams were the best scoring defense 2 years ago. They lost their defensive coordinator, and now last year they were kind of like middle of the pack though.
Yeah, I think they were around top 10.
Were they? Okay, I guess maybe I was looking at like points or yards given up. Anyways,
I think they were like, I only know this because we were looking at it like last night or 2 nights ago. I think
okay.
it's like they were number 8,
Was that
something like
points
that.
allowed or
I think it might have
yards
been
allowed or
points allowed.
points allowed? Okay, well, still top 10's not bad at all. All right. So then Washington. So do you think? I mean, like I don't mind. Like everybody like knocked Kyle because of his like 40 time, but when you look at like the best safeties,
Yeah,
like
it
Ed Reed
isn't
didn't have.
about the 40 time with him. He plays to that time. Like, I did a video like talking about
Yeah.
this, and I know like inherently people are gonna not value that. But like yeah, he like if you watch the clips I included, he's out of position like frequently. So
Mm.
there's concern there. And for whatever reason with Kyle Hamilton, people look at this shouldn't be a surprise, I guess, but people look at the highlights and they ignore like the down to down stuff, and he's out of position like I would say frequently for what you'd expect. Because I expected when I went back to watch him, I expected a guy that was perfect, which you'd have to be if you're going to be a safety that goes, on the top of the draft. And he was very not perfect. And I still think he's a good player, but he's very far from perfect.
Fair assessment. Yeah, I mean that's what's great about that. Everybody go check out Bengal's channel because he does the film study on these things too. So well said from a position of informed reality. So we're passing on Hamilton here at 11.
I think it's between him and a receiver. I would
Hmm.
say safer bet that it is a receiver.
You don't think like Washington, since they've kind of got like a what should like it's weird that Washington's front always plays so crap like the last couple years. Like they have the talent, but like why are they so bad?
I think it starts from the top. They have the worst owner in sports,
And
and
it's
I
pretty
think
close. Yeah.
they've been poorly run. And then I mean, you got guys getting to fights on the sidelines as well, and
That's just
Jonathan Allen and
competitiveness.
Deron Payne. Yeah, it's just kind of like one thing after the next with them. I think, yeah, they have the
Yeah.
talent to put it together, but when Heineke is your quarterback, you might have a tough time. And now Carson Wentz is a minor upgrade, I would say. So we'll see. They could be competitive.
Okay. So, Williams then, wide receiver for Washington.
Yeah, I think you have a good bet that this is a receiver.
Okay. So yeah, put wide receiver at that pick right there, unless a team jumps up. But all right, next pick, Minnesota, number 12.
Yeah, again, it's tough with the way the board has fallen. I'd like to say that this is probably a corner. I could see Jordan Davis going here. Yeah, I could see Kyle Hamilton's tough for this because we're not trying to do a mock draft, really. We're trying to say what position is going to go at the pick.
Yeah.
And it's tough because unless you get Kyle Hamilton on the nose, no other safety is going to go.
Uh-huh. You
So
really got to get super lucky at that.
so I would say for this, I would avoid Kyle Hamilton heavily. Maybe at 18, I would say a safety could go, but yeah, Hamilton could go at 8, he could go at 9, he could go at 10, he could go at 11, he could go at 12, he could go at 13, 14, 15. Like real chances for all of those. But if you have a 10% chance on all of those, you don't like your numbers.
No, you really don't. But he has to go at some point.
For sure. I would take a corner here though. I think Stingley, I think McDuffie's an option. Even though he's a little bit smaller, but I think Stingley.
Somebody in my chat compared Kyle Hamilton to Harrison there. What do you think about those safety? Like, are they very Harrison Smith? I'm talking about. Sorry.
Hmm.
What do you think they're basically like the same?
No,
No,
I
not
think
even
they
close.
both went to Notre Dame and they play safety. I think they play different safety spots. I think Harrison Smith can play free safety, even though he's a great strong safety at times as well. They move him around. Like there are similarities at some spots, but I think based off of what we've seen from Harrison Smith, he does things really really well. He's not taking the bad angles that we see with Kyle Hamilton routinely. He's a really sound
I mean,
tackler.
angles can be taught though, right?
Yeah, I mean that's true. I mean some of it is instinctual, but
Yeah. All right. We're
it's
gonna go
tough to
Stingley though for
compare.
the Viking. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It really is. Nobody's a finished product coming out of the draft.
true as well.
At all, except for like Kenny Pickett maybe.
This is as good as he's ever going to be.
Yeah, I hear a lot of scouts saying that stuff, and I'm like, oh dang it! I really like the if Pittsburgh passes up another Pitt quarterback and they turn into Dan Marino 2.0, I'm gonna be a little angry. I might consume a few beverages in sadness on that one.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to
But
see Dan Marino. You might see like he's got Joe Montana potential.
okay, we just need our Jerry Rice, I guess.
Yeah, there it is. That's all you need.
Yeah,
You just need the best receiver of all time by a landslide. Even though
Although
the
didn't they win?
Buckeyes
They
would say
won.
Randy Moss.
They won a Super Bowl before Jerry Rice got there, so I don't know, maybe. Anyways, Texans, you got number 13.
Another really tough spot. I mean, it's a roster that needs a lot. What is the highest potential? Maybe maybe Jordan Davis would go here, interior defensive line.
Huh.
It's
That's
a
about
tough
as high as
spot.
I've seen him on the on any mocks.
I think Jordan Davis is in the sweet spot of like 13 to 15. I don't think he goes beyond that. Could even go a little bit earlier. But I think you have a chance here at least. Even if Davis is off the board, it could be Devontae Wyatt. He's just really good. I don't think there's an edge rusher that's going to be available.
You know what's crazy with all of like Georgia's talent? Like Jordan Davis always showed up the most to me on talent. Maybe it's because of maybe it's because of watching him more. But like, even though like they have like all time like great, they got like how many like 5 first rounders or some stuff like that. I don't know off the top of my head, but like it seems like Jordan Davis was like always the focal point, and he was always like teams were avoiding him and trying to target other spots.
You
Like,
couldn't really. That's why the Georgia defense is like the best of all time.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, Davis played, I think it was like on average 22 snaps per game. So,
really, huh.
yeah. I don't know that he was making the biggest impact. There were just so many players. Like, Nakobe
Yeah.
Dean was unbelievable.
Like, here's
Channing
the thing
Tindall
about
played
Dean.
well. I mean,
All right,
the best
I think
defensive lineman on that team was Jalen Carter, who's not even draft eligible.
Yeah, I think the crazy thing about Dean is I think he's overrated because he was in front of such an incredible front four. Like linebacking is pretty easy when you got the greatest of all time in front of you.
Yeah, run and chase.
And like, yeah, he reminds me of a little bit of Devin Bush that way. Like I fear he's not going to be as good against the run as a lot of people.
No, you're right about that. Really fun tape, but he stayed clean a lot, and that's the toughest part of a linebacker's job that's undersized, especially like Nakobe Dean, is how are you going to fare when the team runs the ball right at you and you're one-on-one with a guard coming up to the second level? I don't think it's going to go well for him.
Your 3 million pound interior defensive lineman isn't commanding a double team right there.
The favorite linebacker to go number one is maybe Quay Walker right now out of Georgia, and he's expected to be a first-round pick.
39th on this.
He might even go before Devin Lloyd.
Okay. Wow.
But projecting linebacker spots is pretty hard this year.
Yeah. What do you think about Lewis here versus Ham? Like, dude, I love this. It was like around a 4.3 something 40. Dog, I love that.
Yeah, Lewis Seen's really good. Seen is like, I mean, he's a classic like Pittsburgh Steelers safety. This guy, he plays hard, like plays really fast, and just runs and hits. Like not great in coverage, but I mean, he's a fun player to watch.
Yeah, yeah. That's kind of like
too.
I want to be offended by that, but we'll talk about Pittsburgh when we get there. 13, we got there. You think it's Jordan Davis? Should I press the button?
Yeah. Again, this is so tough because like there are going to be trades that happen, and we just don't know where they're going to be.
Nobody really trades up for an interior defensive lineman, so it's a tough one. Yeah. All right, I'll just push this button. All right, the Ravens. They're always like I hate the Ravens and being in the division with the Ravens because they always seems like such smart drafters.
Mm-hmm. They're a trade down team probably in this spot, given who's available.
Yeah, they probably would have taken Stingley here though, right?
Yeah, I think you could give him a Trent McDuffie for the same logic. It's tough because we're not doing a mock draft so much as we're just trying to pick the position of the team, the position of the spot. So it's like I don't know how far Kyle Hamilton's going to fall here, but it's not about Kyle Hamilton falling. It's just the draft position.
Yeah,
it's pretty hard. I would go corner maybe here.
Okay. All right, let's throw McDuffie there then.
Yeah, I like McDuffie a lot too.
Yeah. Eagles, first of two.
I think it's a receiver, number one. I think I would go Olave.
Olave. But here's the thing, it's the Eagles. They're going to take the wrong receiver, so let's just give them Burks.
I like Treylon Burks too.
I know. I think I saw who is it? Who's somebody's video about Burks? Burks is like he came into the combine a little out of shape.
Yeah, he was like 240 plus. I think he was like 242.
Teams are a little concerned about that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so that's kind of like into like the biggest job interview of your life. You're coming in kind of sloppy, and it's a little concerning for like the future of if you care.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Definitely fair.
16 Saints first of their couple?
It's got to be a wide receiver or tackle. Like, yeah, with the quarterbacks available, like I guess it could be Malik Willis too, but we're trying to pick the position. I've said it a billion
Yeah.
times already. I think it's a receiver or tackle.
Okay. We'll give them Olave then.
I think
Wide
it's certainly
receiver for
fine.
the Saints. Yep. Next up will be the Chargers. Like, I feel like interior defensive line's not a bad pick for them, just because if Jordan Davis falls, a lot of people have him linked there. Wyatt's solid. There'd be a D tackle right there. What do you think?
Yeah, I think IDL's in play. I think they really need a right tackle. People hate the Trevor Penning spot, but it could be a tackle here. Could be a receiver if they wanted to go with like a deep threat. No Jamison Williams on the board, but like it could be a receiver at this spot, especially if one of these receivers falls, which there definitely could be.
Yeah.
I think the estimation is that 6 receivers will go in round 1. So we saw Wilson, we've seen Drake London, Jamison Williams, Chris Olave, and Traylon Burks.
Yeah. So this will be the 6th.
Yeah, I mean, and who's that going to be? Maybe Jahan Dotson, maybe George Pickens, and there could be even more than 6 receivers to go too.
Yeah. But you think they're targeting receiver at this spot, though?
I think it could be. I think
Yeah.
I might go. I think Devontae Wyatt's sweet spot could be around here as well. I might just go Wyatt.
Okay. Because, yeah, like, bad run defense, and it'd be, like, interior defensive line's nice because you got both Georgias that can hit that spot versus only one safety.
Mm-hmm. I think Wyatt's actually a little bit better of a fit for the Chargers as well, just because he offers a little bit of pass rush. They brought in Sebastian Joseph Day and Austin Johnson, more of run defending guys, but they don't have a guy like Jordan Davis. So if he's available, that's also in play.
Mm-hmm. All right, Eagles. Second Eagle slot.
This could be a safety. This could be a
Just
safety.
put it on the board.
Yeah, I would do it because maybe it could be Lewis Seen early too. Could be Dax Hill to play nickel corner. So I think your highest potential chance of getting safety right is going to be at 18. Would be my bet. But I mean, so much can change.
That's the name of the game. I mean, I think you want to take the highest percentage chance because like the more you get right, obviously the more you get in rewards here through it. I don't know. I guess we haven't shown off what the actual rewards are, but yeah, it's crazy. 20 correct picks, all 32 first round draft players, which are like 95 to 99 overalls. And then all NFL Draft Pass champions, heroes, and a future mystery gift. I don't know what the mystery gift is. I assume it's a golden ticket. But like, yeah, we could potentially. What do you think the chances are? Like, how many? Like, so we got like there's obviously 1 correct, 5 correct, 10 correct, 13, 15, and then 15 all the way through 20 is each individual one. Like, do you think we can get 15 of these correct?
Oh,
15 or 20?
That's a lot correct. See, I don't like.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily love this mock draft. Just
Really?
It's not. Yeah, it's not even a mock. Like I like some of the positions. The positions I'm confident in are 1, 4. There's so much. I really think the ones that I truly think. I think 1's going to be an edge guy.
We got one that we nailed.
The thing is, it's so many 50-50s, and if you're wrong about the 50-50.
Fuck up the rest of your draft board.
Yeah, because like 2 I think is edge or QB. 3 is corner, edge, tackle. That's a 33. Jets is I think receiver or edge. That's 50-50. For the Giants then it's tackle, edge, or corner at either of those spots. So even if you get that order messed up, you're still wrong, right?
Yeah.
So Ekwonu, that's a 50-50 tackle versus QB. For the Falcons, a lot of positions could happen there.
This one's like 25% chance at tops, right?
Yeah, probably. It's receiver, edge, corner, quarterback, maybe.
Yeah.
For the Seahawks, it's maybe QB, but tackle, edge, corner. For the Jets, it depends. If they took a receiver at 4, like they're not going to go receiver again.
Yeah. And we just messed them up.
Yeah, but I feel like we have some high potential shots here. I would say I think it's going to be 10 plus.
I'm good with that. I mean, 10 plus isn't a great reward, but like if we get a little lucky on top of it, get up to
Mm-hmm.
13. Yeah, we get 93 plus, 95 plus. So I don't know. I mean, and then people can kind of, base what they're saying off of what we say. But all right, let's finish. Number 19 we're on. Who we taking for the Saints? We got one more pick after 19 to go.
I would go. I would go offensive line here. They really need it. It could happen at 16, but if there's Penning available, Tyler Smith from Tulsa, maybe Bernard Ryman from Central Michigan goes early. I think this could
Why do
be offensive line.
why do people hate Penning so much?
He's really raw, and they probably point to like the penalties. Trevor Penning has a lot of penalties, but it's not like holding and stuff. It's like unnecessary roughness. So it's like I think you can clean it up. Some people say, "Oh, that's just how he's wired." I think that's kind of ridiculous. I think is once you get on an NFL team and they're like, "Hey, stop doing this all the time," or like play through the whistle, but that's it. I don't think it's going to be as heavily penalized as it was in college. I really don't.
Yeah, and I mean, well, I don't know. Some people are born with a certain temperament. Some people some people do change. Like, I don't think Sue's as bad now as he used to be, but like,
Hmm.
Donald's been, grabbing Adam Apple for as long as we've known him. Miles Garrett's had issues with penalties like that. So like, there's been a lot of players like, even when they go to the pros, they still have major issues. And like sometimes a lot of these guys with their fucking mean streaks, like you kind of need that a little bit on the offensive line and defensive line to be a dominant force. Unless I guess your pass protector like Bakhtiari seems like a pretty good dude, but like a lot of guys do kind of just like that mean streak is oftentimes helpful.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely fair. If we're gonna say there's one position where you can be a little bit meaner and get away with it, it's offensive line. Because how many times do you see some offensive linemen just really like finish through somebody, like not even
Trent
involved in the
Williams.
play? But that's legal. You're allowed to do
Yeah.
that. So, like, I don't really think it's gonna be too much of a problem. The one big flaw I see with Trevor Penning is just exposure to top level talent and how he's gonna handle like some of these really talented like technical edge rushers. And I think that's going to be the real learning curve and the real challenge.
Yeah.
He might even play guard right away because of that.
How many small school tackles become all timers? Like I don't even like. I'm trying to think of the best tackles of all time.
Yeah,
Um,
most recently, Spencer Brown out of Northern Iowa last year was a rookie and ended up playing
yeah,
pretty well at right tackle for the Bills. But in terms of the best tackles in the league, define small school because Bakhtiari's
yeah,
Colorado. It's not Northern Iowa, but it's not like Alabama or Georgia.
that's
it's
true.
still it's still Power Five, Pac-12, but it's it. I think the thing is you got to scout the player, not the helmet, and it's like you could say how many of these guys have already seen worked out. Like an Ohio State quarterback's never been good, but you could say like a Michigan QB's never good before Brady, or a Cal QB was never good before Aaron Rodgers, or a Southern Miss QB was never good before Brett Favre. Like you could do that all day. It's just there are outliers for a reason.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, like it's a good point. I mean, small schools only matter so much because like you do develop and change so much in those 4 years from 18 to 22. So yeah, and that's why Penning, even though smallest spot is potentially at number 19. So it's a
Like
good
he,
point.
he quite literally is, I believe, either the first or second most athletic tackle of the last 25 years in the draft via like RAS score, which is relative
Yeah.
athletic score, just factoring literally everything. So if there's a player to bank upside on, it would be him.
And like what you're saying about how you're handling those technical and pass rushers and stuff, and like he's got the athleticism. Like that's oftentimes the problem with guys that are like dominant at college. Like okay, yeah, but what happens when you go against a guy running like a 4.5 at 270, and but like he's got the athletic ability to do that. So it's a fair point. Being that tall, what's his arm length at? Do you know?
It's freakishly long. Let me pull it up.
Is it okay? Having that arm length, having that punch, having that like the height, it's. I'm not maybe as worried. Like people are angry about the penalties, but like sometimes those things like that gets your sideline fired up a little bit, right? If you like the Browns when they I guess they were already, it was like the end of the game when Myles Garrett tried to take off the head of our quarterback. But like other times like it helps drive their play. Like in the Super Bowl, we saw Donald get like fucking like hit when he hit the quarterback out of bounds, and then like the offensive line tried to protect the quarterback. That just fired up Donald, got him pissed off, and like he was basically the Super Bowl MVP after that. So I mean, obviously offensive tackle isn't as down, but like, dude, we see like Trent Williams like just murdering dudes with his mean streak, and like that's just like good tape, and that like brings the team together.
Trevor Penning is 6'7" with 34 and 1/4 inch arms. So they were a little bit smaller than I thought. That's still big. It's 71 or 71st percentile for wingspan and 58th percentile for arm length in general.
Okay.
So it's not like the
Walker.
wingspan
Yeah.
is significant, but the arm length is above average.
Yeah.
But 34-inch arms is like that's a good length.
Yeah, because like the guy that Aiden Hutchinson's got like 31, so like he's still got the advantage there, like 32 maybe.
Oh, significantly.
Yeah. So all right, Steelers at 20. You know what what all of America's been looking forward to because it's everybody's favorite team.
Yep.
Because I can't see myself in anybody else's shoes, so that's how I project myself into the world. Everybody sees it how I do. Who best spot here? I'm gonna give it to you because I'm a little biased.
I think it's between a quarterback and a cornerback, I would say. I don't think it's interior offensive line. Like, finally, the Draft Network moved that down the board. I've complained about it so many times. They had IOL as the number one need, and I go, that's not even a need at this point. I think you got a pretty good shot the Steelers pull the trigger on a QB. But if they don't pick at 20, if they move up, it's not for the Steelers, right?
Yeah.
I can see it being a corner as well. Could be a linebacker, but it's tough to say. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they I don't think have made it very a lot of like the draft surrounded in mystery, and you're supposed to hide who you like, but they've actually like Tomlin's come out over the last year or so saying he wants like a dual threat quarterback, having to defend Lamar a couple times every year, just puts his brain in a blender. And so like I think Malik seems like the obvious guy they want. Now if he falls to 20, that's perfect.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're gonna fall to 20 if Malik's there in the early teens. I think they're just gonna like, all right, we're doing it. We're jumping up. We're gonna try for it. Like that's the only issue with the Steelers pick is, yeah, sure they need their roster isn't exactly the most talented thing in the world. They got some superstars there, but like they got holes, and they got holes at a few spots. Like with Juju Smith-Schuster gone, there's maybe not a great spot here for a wide receiver, but like it's still something that you might want to look at because you got a hole there. So at least I consider it a hole, but yeah, it's gonna be quarterback. It's gonna be Malik Willis, and that's my feeling right now. If Malik is here at 20 and they don't take Malik, I will be beyond shocked. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I mean, we have all the quarterbacks, and it's just about the percentage chance. Like, I think Kenny Pickett ends up on the Panthers. I'm not sure if it's at number 6 or if they move down. I mean, Desmond Ridder could end up being a first-round guy. I don't know if you saw, but Matt Corral, the Ole Miss quarterback, got an invite to the draft, which means like the expectation is that he will go in the first round, or at least there's a pretty high chance that he will. So I don't know. We could see a real run on quarterbacks because let's say Malik Willis goes at 2, and then that might stress out some other teams. You might see the Panthers pulling the trigger on Kenny Pickett at 6, or maybe they move down, and then other teams might want to end up getting a QB. Maybe it's the Steelers. Maybe it's Tennessee. Maybe it's the Saints. You could see Ridder go. You could see Corral go. Like,
yeah,
it's a lot of unknowns. And the thing is, like, it's so easy to look at draft rankings and say, that guy's not going to go in the first round. What are you, stupid? All it takes is one team to like one player for them to go way earlier than you expect. Because, I mean, look at the Raiders every year. Cleveland Ferrell goes at 4. We see Damon Arnett go in the top 20. Obviously no longer on the team. Alex Leatherwood went at, 17 last year? Like, none of these were expected None of these were predictable. Nobody had Damon Arnett in the first round. Leatherwood wasn't a first round guy. Furl wasn't probably a top 5 or 10 guy for a lot of guys, even though I liked him quite a bit.
That didn't work out. Yeah. I don't really like Ritter. I don't know. A lot of people can love
He's inaccurate. I have a big problem with that. But mentally and physically, he is there. But the arm, I worry about, which is concerning for a quarterback.
Since that's their job.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, it's like a pitcher that can't throw the ball in the strike zone.
There you go. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I think Steelers are taking 20. Do we want to finish off the draft, or we're just gonna end it at 20 since that's where our picks end?
I think it's a good spot to end it.
All right, let's do it. We've been doing it for an hour. Since it is a MUT-based draft, let me know in the comments what you guys think. Yeah. Otherwise, really appreciate it, Bengal. Everybody go check out his channel. I'll link it in the description. Go sub. He's a good dude. I'm in an MLB The Show Creator League with him. We gotta get a matchup, our matchup soon.
Oh, that's gonna go great for me, I'm sure.
Dude, like you just took like a devastating blow, but I feel like your next opponent is going to you're just gonna absolutely like mercy him.
Yeah, here's the difference. Is I'm actually gonna play during the day, before the game. I'm not just gonna jump into the game. That's what's gonna happen. Yeah, I see Dimo in the playoffs, dude. It's done. It's over.
You're gonna go like Tom Omansky, or like you're gonna have like a professional coach over your shoulder every at bat.
Exactly.
As you can see, the fingers on this release, you can see for one frame as the ball's being released, it's slightly separated. So remember, that's gonna be the fork ball.
Dude, Monksy was telling me about an animation. He's like, the pitcher's a little bit more violent right before they throw a fastball. He's like,
really?
that's what he said. I don't believe it for a second. He's insane. But I don't know. He's just so crazy enough that could be true. I don't know.
I mean, that's kind of what it takes to play at that kind of high level. Is like finding out those small things, and it's like just like Madden, finding like some small glitch that'll win you a tournament. And we've seen it before, and it happened with like man coverage glitches and everything. So these games are not perfectly made. So
that's saying the least.
Dude, I gotta end this video right here, but it's so weird to me that people are okay with the hitting in MLB Show 22. It's like and people defend it. Like, one last thing is like casuals are defending it, but like casuals would defend anything, right? Like they'd be fine with the game as it is, no matter how the hitting is. So like, I don't know. It's frustrating that people are fighting against it when if it was completely different, they'd be completely for it that way too. Mm-hmm. It's weird. But anyways, that's the end of this MUT video. Go check out our channels, our MLB channels too. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. I will see you guys around. Take it easy, Bengal.